Adamson, and I'm CEO of a business called Be Better. And the reason the business is called Be Better is we want to help organisations to be better about their sustainability. That doesn't mean organisations have to be perfect. We just want them to get on the road to becoming better. And the more steps they take on that journey, the better they become. And I think one of the choke points for businesses adapting to sustainability and homes is this fear that what they do isn't enough, or it doesn't contribute enough, or, you know, what difference can they make? And actually what we want is a lot of imperfect actions towards sustainable future rather than just a couple of perfect organisations doing it well. We need lots and lots of different approaches to this. So being better is absolutely the route to take. So my background is 30 years in marketing, luxury marketing, and 20 years ago I shifted over to, I recognised really that there was no leadership for businesses to understand how to transition to a sustainable future. So I went back and undertook the exams with IEMA, the Institute of Environmental Management and Assessment, and prior to that, BSc with honours in Sustainable Development. I hand over to you. You tell us a bit about Dale, maybe.
Dale Office are an office design and build company. So we obviously try to make workplaces work for the people that work within them. And we work across sectors in various different industries. And it really is about putting people first when it comes to the office environment and making that work for both the business and the people within it, because if we can make the people work better, obviously the business will benefit. So that in a nutshell is what we do as a service, and really one of the main things of why we obviously engaged with you, Illana, was and Be Better. We highlighted during last year that our customers were starting to focus a little bit more in the sustainable elements of an office fit out or a refurbishment. And we decided that as a business, to support our clients, we needed to invest time and effort into understanding that area. So we started doing some webinars and some research. And it quickly dawned on us that the best place to start with this is, yes, we can offer sustainable furniture, we can offer sustainable builds and products, but really we have to go back to the start really and look at ourselves. As a business, we need to be better. We need to be more sustainable in every way. And really we can't tell our clients that they need to maybe make a slightly different and sometimes more expensive choice that's more sustainable and better for the environment if we're not willing to do those changes ourselves. So at the end of last year, we did a webinar. We looked at the really top line elements of sustainability and the environment, and we highlighted a few areas that kind of blew our minds in terms of the scope of this. And it made us realize that, one, we couldn't do this alone, and two, it is a very big concern. And we, instead of putting our heads in the sand and thinking that's just too big for us at the moment, we decided that we've got to just start. We've got to do something. If we get on the road, if we get on this journey, it will be easier for us. Yes, it'll take us slightly longer and we'll do it in smaller steps, but it's better to start than not do it at all. And from a business point of view, I think we're hoping during this process to engage with other businesses of similar size and larger than ours, that hopefully shows that getting started and doing something and doing it sustainably, in terms of that it doesn't impact the business too much, but also we can make a real impact over time, is better than not trying at all. And then kind of just one day, probably in the future, realizing that if we'd have started this a long time ago, we'd have been in a better situation, and then we're trying to backtrack. So hopefully this journey will inspire others, show others that it is doable. It doesn't have to be done all at once, and yeah, just inspire other businesses to start really, rather than maybe putting it off for a few more years. So that is kind of why we engage with you, I guess.
And for us, that's absolutely ideal, because as I say, what we aim to do is, hold the hands of businesses to get them on those first steps, because they're the most difficult to navigate in a lot of ways. Once you start, I think it becomes, you start to get into a snowball. If you start from the right sort of materiality assessment and understanding where the business needs to look, not just buying sustainability off the shelf, because it should be bespoke to each business depending on industry and geography as well. So I think that's a really important point. There are Some areas that we can point to that we know are vital. So carbon, for instance, we know that is a key priority for Paris Climate, for COP, but that doesn't necessarily mean that for every business that will be the most important or the biggest negative environmental impact. If it's a water heavy business, water would be alongside the carbon, certainly. And if it's an area that's touching on biodiversity, so if it was a wildlife park, for instance, the protection of the natural world would be more important than the carbon. So although we know that carbon is a major priority and we can take a guess at that being a top priority for a number of businesses for a number of reasons, and we'll get into that later on, what we mustn't do when we're looking at sustainability is only see sustainability through the lens of carbon, because it does, not only does it push businesses into a cul-de-sac where they'll probably have to do a U-turn at a later stage and realise that they've invested money in something that possibly isn't their biggest impact, and therefore they'll have to backtrack and catch up with themselves. But also you miss the opportunities, because sustainability and moving to a sustainable business strategy isn't just about the compromises, which it has been seen as that for a long period of time. There's an awful lot of opportunity. We now know 70% of customers, or 90% of customers, depending on which report you read, are happier to pay more money for products and services that they know have a better impact on the environment, and they're just not quite sure how to navigate that. We also know that big BlackRock, these sorts of big banks and Aviva have, the insurance company, have all now been very vocal in the fact that profit is in sustainability, and moving away from unsustainable practices is in actual fact a way to future-proof the business. So that appetite for sustainability over the last, I've been in this for 20 years, and over the last 2 years, that's changed. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a huge shift in the narrative towards sustainability as a solution that can make profit rather than a cost to stay in the game.
I think that's what we noticed as well. But over time, our customers are wanting those solutions, and they're wanting a business like ours, and this will be cross industry, I'd imagine. They're wanting businesses that can support them with those elements, and you are right, they are willing to pay more for it if they know that the impact is going to be there, really, rather than it being just something that they can just write off on their finance sheets, really. So yeah, there is definitely a real push for it, and it will be you will find there'll be a negative impact if you can't offer those services in the next few years. As we said, we've already seen it now, and there is so much opportunity to get new clients who are maybe a bit further along in their sustainable journey. They have that are now looking at the different types of scope and scope 3s when they're engaging with other companies that are also sustainable. It helps their overall sustainability as a business as well. So you've got all these things whirling around, and you're right, there's like no other time, there is definitely a pull for it being a positive. You can actually benefit from making more sustainable choices as a business, and again, that's what we highlighted.